Well, I think that one of the main assumptions that we seem to be making in organization studies about paradoxes is that paradoxes are something rare, something odd, and thereby something that we need to manage or resolve. Now, I think that all this perhaps comes from our linguistic and thereby cognitive conceptualization of paradoxes, stemming all the way perhaps from Aristotle and the construct of language, English, Greek, which is my main language, but also all Western languages, where construct paradox as two terms that are necessarily at odds with each other, that they're contradictory. Now, when we see a paradox in such a way, be it the paradox of stability and change, or structure and chaos, then I think we have this implicit, it could be emotional, it could be a cognitive need, that we need to resolve this oddity, this paradox. And I think that currently that's one of our underlying assumptions in organization studies, but also in other fields as well. Now, the thing is, I think we need to come to terms with paradoxes, and we need to reframe a paradox as something inherent in organizational life, in life. And when we come to reframe paradoxes not as something that we need to resolve, but mostly as something that we need to accept and work with, and realize that behind the paradox, there is an inherent creativity, a room to create, to innovate, to be something different, then I think we'll also become more accepting of the paradoxes that we encounter. And actually, I mean, since this is a main interest of mine, now it seems that everywhere I look, I see paradoxes. I was something unrelated the other day, something in regards to parenting. And this article in Education was saying how to raise creative kids, we need structured boredom. And I was thinking, okay, I mean, structured boredom, really? But the article was going on and on about how we need kids to be bored in the summer when they're outside of school, but not entirely bored, not bored out of their minds. We as parents, as teachers, we need to structure their boredom so they can find creativity within this. And then again, I was reading something unrelated the other day about art and about how artists manage to be innovative and creative. And of course, this relates to entrepreneurship as well. And this article, again, was talking about structured chaos. Now, that's a paradox. But if we think about it, in complete chaos, we cannot innovate. And entrepreneurs cannot come up with something new. Our kids cannot come up with something new. We cannot do anything new in our work if we're surrounded by utter chaos. Now, too much structure, again, that impedes trying to do anything different. But structured chaos, this article was saying, now there you have it. That's where we can function. So what I'm trying to say is that perhaps we need to move beyond this assumption that paradoxes are something strange, something new, they're not, and something that we need to manage. I would say that it's something we need to accept. And one more thing I was thinking about is that we have done well in paradox studies, kind of moving ourselves away from the either-or approach. And recent work coming out also tells us that we need to move beyond the both-and approach. Maybe we need to go to what Linda Putnam calls the more-than approach. Indeed. And there we need to think about how, in accepting paradoxes, we also go deeper, not in the sense of resolving again, but in the sense of seeing the paradoxes that are inherently embedded in paradoxes. And some of the work that we've been doing recently with George Cassini's, my colleague, shows this. We're trying to study change in an organization, in a startup. And what we found there is that the paradox was not so much between change and stability. Perhaps there's no such thing as stability, but the paradox was between change and changing all the time. And our research showed how there are layers and layers of paradoxes. And perhaps what we need to be doing as organizational scholars is going deeper, delving deeper in finding out what those paradoxes are, and then guiding organizations to accepting paradoxes as an inherent part of organizational life. I would say a positive part of organizational life.